Can I be happy with a dismissive avoidant? Perhaps you're dating someone who is struggling with commitment and you realize that that person is a dismissive avoidant and you want to know whether it's worth fighting for that relationship. Perhaps you're trying to get back with someone who's dismissive avoidant and you want to know whether it actually makes sense to get back with that person. I'll explain everything after the jingle.
igetmyexback.com. Everyone deserves a second chance.
So dating an avoidant is frustrating, and I used to be avoidant. So I sort of understand my different ex-girlfriend's point of view when I was in my 30s, early 30s. Because avoidants, they have this fear of commitment. A relationship implies commitment. So what are we doing here? What are we fighting for? I'm going to spoil a little bit the end. You can sometimes be happy with a dismissive avoidant. There's few conditions, and this is what I want to discuss in this video, in what sort of world, in what sort of dynamic you can accept or you can decide to fight for that relationship, to fight to be with someone who is dismissive avoidant. It's not about you, first of all, and I think it's also why I do a lot of content about attachment style, because a lot of my clients and a lot of people watching my videos, they realize that when they learn about attachment style, it's sort of really really linked to their story. And they realize that it's not anything they've done wrong, it's more about their attachment and their partner's attachment. So the fact that potentially you guys broke up, your fights, is more about the clash of attachment than the lack of compatibility. Avoidants might perceive it as a lack of compatibility because they will feel like, I want to be with that person because I'm overwhelmed, because I don't want to connect, because it's very difficult for me to handle their emotions. And they would interpret this as a lack of compatibility, but actually it's different. And so the problem is it could create this anxious avoidant trap, right? The idea that when they withdraw, we will push. And the more we push, the more they withdraw, because it's going to be too much for them. And it's probably, as I said, the reason you guys broke up. The answer is empathy. It's empathy, and I'll explain you why. Being empathetic is key. So there's empathy and sympathy. Empathy is seeing things from your partner's point of view. Okay? Sympathy is when you feel sorry for them. When you cry, okay, I'm gonna, cuddle you to make you feel better. Empathy is the ability to look at the story, to look at someone's perspective, not only from your point of view in their shoes, but from their point of view, from their belief system in their shoes. The good thing is, if you're anxious, you have a tendency or you have the ability to connect and to be more empathetic than avoidant, and to understand how your ex functions. So just to summarize, empathy is not sympathy. Empathy is feeling with the other person. When the other person is crying, you cry with that person in a way. When the other person is disconnecting, you understand why they're coming from, why they disconnect. Sympathy is only feeling sorry for the other person. And so sometimes we sort of struggle with this idea of being empathetic. And what you're doing by learning about attachment style, by watching my videos, is to learn about how you can be empathetic with your partner or with your ex. Now, the problem is empathy in relationship. It's not a problem first. The opportunity is that I think empathy is the solution for most relationship problems. I don't coach anymore or help anymore couples, but I think when you look at conflict resolution, when you look at communication, it really lies into the empathetic thing. And the question counselors like myself ask people when they're in couple counseling sessions, they ask like, what it makes you feel to hear this from your partner. Okay, it's always like 50% of the time that's the question we would ask. Can you tell me your story? How does it make you feel to hear your wife say this about you or about the situation? It's really forcing one to be empathetic. Okay, so you're more likely to find solutions this way, because as you You're not you against them. You see, oh, okay, he's a human being. He or she functions in a different way. He or she doesn't have any sort of bad intentions. It's just on how they react, their belief system, their story, what they make of a relationship, what they make of commitment. So they're not a threat in a way. It's just that they are seeing things differently. And so by understanding how people think, we are able to understand, to accept things. And so this, idea of being empathetic is really, really powerful because we therefore feel more comfortable expressing our thoughts, not having the idea or the fear that we are being judged. Now, being empathetic is also very dangerous, and I see that with my clients who are anxious, because it's all about reciprocity. I use the example of a classic couple counseling session where you would ask, the husband, what it makes you feel to hear your wife say this, and you ask the same question for your wife when the husband is speaking. Because we want reciprocity. We want a balance in relationship. The problem with dealing with an ex, for example, is that you're watching the video, your ex is not. And it's the ability for you to assess whether your ex is also questioning his or her belief system. So it's important for you to understand their point of view, to heal, to move forward. But it's also an element of, okay, what's about me? The key question, what about me? You're learning, well done. You're seeing someone to help you feel more secure. Perhaps you're anxious and you need help, and you have a therapist, you have a counselor that helps you dealing with this. Or maybe you lack confidence and you seeking social support from. You're doing the work. What about your ex as well? What is he or she giving you right now? Being more secure should be your only compass, should be your only objective. Getting back with your ex is the outcome of being more secure. Studies have shown that the only way for a partner, for a relationship to be more secure is if both are secure. Okay? So obviously there are ways to do it. It takes a bit of time, but that's the idea. If you want your partner to learn how to be committed, if you want dismissive avoidant to be more in line with you, you have to first be more secure. And that will inspire that person, inspire your partner to be more secure. That's how, if I look at my personal experience, that's how I overcame my tendency to be avoidant. When I felt like, okay, I don't feel threatened, I feel understood, I can express my feelings, I understand that there's something wrong with me, I'm willing to work on that. But I see with that person that I can do the work, and I see that it's healthy. So the thing is, that's why I think love, and I take it from my personal example, but I also take it from my client's example. When you're in love with someone and there's something that's not working, it should forces you to reflect and see, okay, what's going on? If I want to rescue this relationship, if this person meant a lot, and I see that I hear that almost every single day when people tell me like, my ex is avoidant, but he told me he's never been like this with anyone. This should be a sign of them realizing, reflecting. If you do a bit of no contact, what do they really want? Okay, maybe they've been like this, struggling with commitment for years and years. But this relationship, the relationship they had with you was, pivotal, a pivotal moment in their life where they feel like, wow, I touched something that I want to have for the rest of my life, and I need to deal with that. And so with effective communication, you can also engage your partner, help them to sort of open up a little bit. However, and I know anxious people, they tend to be very patient. I'm super impatient. I don't know if it's all avoidants are impatient, but it's true that I'm kind of impatient for my clients sometimes. Dismissive avoidants sometimes tend to believe that they don't have a problem. They would deflect the problem. The drama, I'm very easygoing, there's too much drama. And it's the way I've been, taught how to self-soothe, and that's the expectation I have for my partner. It's like, if you have a problem, you self-soothe your problem, right? So you need to see a desire from them to be more secure. You need to see them having, challenging their belief system, realizing, I need to work on myself. Usually it's difficult for them to be empathetic. It's not impossible. Everybody can learn to be empathetic. Perhaps for avoidant it's slightly more difficult. But they need to acknowledge, as I discussed, their fear of commitment, the fact that it's real and unhealthy. If they don't realize this, you're wasting your time. By using the right form of communication, by also respecting the timing, that's why sometimes no contact is efficient, sometimes it's not efficient. That's what I do with my clients who I speak with on WhatsApp, is really trying to figure out, what to do, what to say, depending on the timing, depending on the tone, and build it from that. So don't make the mistake, and it's so important, don't make the mistake to fall in love with the potential. I don't care about the potential. I really don't care. What I care is what your ex is giving to the relationship. You can say in a simple words, you don't want to be with someone who doesn't want to be with you. Sometimes it's a question of pressure. You release the pressure, you sort of reflect, you're on your own, a bit of no contact, and your ex, despite the fact that they're avoidant, they start to realize, okay, I want this person in my life. Okay, and you can sort of, by the use of effective communication, as I said, you can sort of making them realize, there's a future together. If you're still in love with the potential and you end up with someone who's constantly giving you mixed signal, who keeping you on the hook because they don't necessarily have a narcissistic personality disorder, but we all have this narcissistic side sometimes, where we feel like, okay, I can still, my ex is there if I want her or him. You don't want to be in that situation because then you're in love with the potential. You're just trying to rescue, you're just trying to protect an image, something that you put on a pedestal that's no longer right for you, right? Life is too short. Give it a try, but at some stage, if you don't see any progress, if you don't see your ex trying to do the same sort of work that you're doing, i.e. learning about yourself, learning about relationship, learning about attachment, then all the benefits and the fruits of that learning, of that growth, well, too bad for them. They won't benefit from it and you'll be happier with someone else because that person is not right for you. The potential, just an idea. Just a fantasy. We don't care about fantasy. We are about, we are looking for real stuff. And that's what I wish you for, is to have that real connection with someone who's able to discuss, who's able to connect with you at that level. Don't waste your time. Any question, any comment, let me know in the comment section. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer.